pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father which art in heaven, dear Lord God, we are thankful and grateful unto you for all your many blessings you bestowed upon the citizens of Dillon. Dear Lord God, we ask you for your continued blessings. We ask that you continue to bless our mayor, city council, our city manager, our department heads of the city as we get it together on today, make decisions for the betterment of all the citizens of Dillon. And in everything we do, we pray we be careful to give your name the glory, the honor, and the praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Well, everybody here this evening, we're going to kind of move a little steadier pace tonight. I suspect we've probably got a few people pulling for Clemson, sitting back home so they can watch the ball game. I know Glenn brought that up here today.
He said roll tide.
Yeah. I have a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion.
All in favor? Opposed? I have a motion to approve the minutes from the December 14th, 2015 regular scheduled meeting. Motion, have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Just a few things. I'm going to really skim through these real fast, bring y'all up to date on a few things. A wellness center. I like to bring up on again, the 2-cent hospitality tax. You know, we're halfway through the fiscal year, and we're on path to generate about $530,000 in that account. So that's been real strong. We got a balance in there right now of $921,000, which opens the door for us to do some things. That's why I brought up the parks, the ball fields and stuff.
That's 921, so the month after you just paid $256,000.
No, that's not, remember that?
We delayed that to
February. What's that amount?
$239,474.
No, we paid in February, $239. So we're going to save about $20,000, $22,000 when we
Yeah. After you make that bond payment, we should be sitting right at about $1 million in that account. Which, you know, you could probably start long-range planning on other projects at that wellness center. Down the road, I think you're getting more and more position now to do that. Any other thing we want to look at doing, I think you could certainly put it on the map. Speaking of the wellness center, I know Glenn, I brought it to your attention. I get with Todd one day on some things I think would enhance that thing, more professional. I'm up there a lot. Just a couple of things I've noticed I'll get with you on. I sent a letter to Senator Kent Williams, Jackie, Representative Hayes, probably 2 or 3 months ago, on the need for a motel in Dillon. And we met today at the wellness center. We Skyped in somebody, I can't remember his name.
Trip Muldrow.
Trip Muldrow. He did a feasibility study or some study for us 7, 9, 10 years ago. So he was in on it. We had a PRT representative there. Of course, Kent, had Jackie, Lynn, myself. We had the city manager from Hartsville and the Commerce Department rep, Ed West. I was really excited about that after we met. The information we got is Dillon certainly, I think, fits the criteria due to need for a more upscale motel. Some of the things I got out of it, they were really surprised at the money that the motels get on their rates here presently. So we're going to, the first thing you need to do is just a basic feasibility study. And from what I took from it, with that feasibility study, without spending much more money to go to the next level, they'll give you pretty much a yay or nay whether it's in your best interest to go forward. Conway did this recently, and they shut Conway off real fast because Conway's competing with Myrtle Beach, and they just couldn't get over that handle for the Myrtle Beach destination. That ain't Dillon's problem. We went in that meeting some people wanted to look at motel downtown. I know I was right off the bat, and I think Glenn brought it up the same way. I don't think that's our objective or our primary need of a motel downtown due to space and maybe not taking full advantage of I-95. So there's some things already in place, land grants, land already being priced out there now at the Walmart area or the other exit we can look at. But the first phase is that feasibility study, which is going to run about $10,000. We made a decision tonight to ask council and get with the county, whoever, and I know Jackie and Kent talked about money going forward after this. I think it's available, it's just the time to get it. We think we need to start that feasibility study now. Go forward with it right now and see where that takes us. 10,000 is not much. I mean, we were looking at a retail study just a couple months ago where we were going to spend 15.
Well, you know, the thing is, you get a motel out there, and then all of a sudden our fees are gonna start going up, the hospitality tax.
Yeah, there's a lot of positives.
And I'd love to see something downtown, but you're right, I mean, there's just not anything down there to hold, and I think we can have a much better opportunity out there.
And he brought up the manager from the City of Hartsville. She was there today. She talked about what they've done. They have 2 downtown, but they also have Sunoco offices downtown, Coker College downtown, and they don't have an interstate. So I mean, that was in their best interest.
Yeah.
And as she said, as they open up, is it a Hampton Inn they've got now?
Got a Hampton Inn, they had a...
And they've opened up since then. They've had a lot of restaurants to come in, whether it's nationally known or mom and pop type restaurants, and that has helped their downtown, but they're not on the interstate. They were losing people from Sunoco, Coker College, who was visiting to farms. Pretty much what's the same way here. I mean, we get the occasional drive-by on the interstate, but they can go 30 miles either way and stay in a hotel and not a motel, and pretty much pay the same kind of price.
And she said the Hampton Inn on Main Street, well, they really had to sell them on that for a number of years. So
But they had to give them land.
Yeah, a lot of incentive.
They did a lot of things.
So it's definitely something to put an incentive package on. It's just definitely something to look at. But we'll go forward if council agrees with that. I think it's something we need to move on. Tony also, McNeil was there, and he brought a lot of input, which he needed to be there with the commerce. I don't think right now do that.
But if you want to go forward, you're going to wait another month.
I would like to see if the county would be accommodating with the 10,000, maybe. We can go for it either way and see it. I agree. I think we do. We need to go forward and start that. I mean, we left that meeting that with Jackie and Kim that we were going to put
Commerce.
that on the table right now, commerce, and go forward that feasibility stuff. That's not much.
I'd like to see us take the lead on that.
Well, especially if we said we were excited about it, we were ready to go forward, you know, to wait a month, you know.
No sense.
What kind of excitement do you have?
That's right.
I think go on with it.
Could that be taking out the
Hospitality.
hospitality? Sure.
They could, or our local 3%.
3%.
All right, have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Then the motion, let's make sure that
Motion is to go ahead and get the application and to fund the feasibility, the initial feasibility study,
and we'll use 3% funds.
if that's what you think fits.
Okay.
Last week, I was just riding around a little bit. Well, actually walking, I went to Harmon Park. You know, we came on 10, 12 years ago, we upgraded Harmon Park. It looks a lot better. Harmon Park's kind of gotten like the ball fields. It needs to be upgraded again. If you go downtown, you see service clubs, you see churches, groups raising money. I called Maggie the other day, said, Maggie, we got 4 corners at that park. Why don't we use the garden clubs? Now, you need to remember them when you this, but go to different groups at the high schools, 4-H clubs, the churches, do a contest and give them each one a corner of that park. We'll fund the supplies to go in and landscape each corner with a criteria of what we want them to put into it. We don't have too much maintenance, something in as less maintenance as possible. And let those groups come in and work the corner.
Well, let the groups maintain.
If they want to maintain, yeah. And,
Yeah, would have a little sign in there,
Yep.
and then there's a little pride going, you know.
But you can have a
Methodist
first,
men will do one of those.
you can have a first place prize of $300-400, a second place of $30. I guarantee you it'll fill up pretty fast. And, those corners look, they don't look good at all. Not good. So I brought that to Maggie. She's working on that for me now.
Glenn and I talked about it.
Excuse me?
Glenn and I talked about it.
Yeah, I know y'all are. I know y'all are.
The sidewalks all the way around that, are they pretty good now, or?
Yeah.
Bumped up?
And then,
One other
I
thing
know
is,
those big trees, you're gonna have that.
I don't know if that little basketball goal is still sitting out
I don't know
there.
whose that is.
It needs to be gone.
Yeah,
It
we
just
got to
trashes
do
the
it.
place up.
I don't know where that came from.
While you speaking of the park here, I had somebody approach me about the handicap. Can we put a swing out there where you can put a wheelchair on it and they can swing? Is that feasible to do?
There was one there on the
On the swing set?
Jefferson Street side. I'll check that, yeah. There was one initially there.
How about a bird?
I think there's two baby swings there now.
Is that what it is there now?
I think it got messed up.
Yeah, we can look at that.
Okay.
Wheelchair
Didn't
swing.
mean to cut you off.
That's fine. The last thing, and it's just something that I'm again get when we got Jack Mackey's coming in, our new judge. I've always been confused. That's brought to my attention one time. Why do we do PR bonds for out-of-state offenders when they go out of state? We never hear from them again. So why are we issuing the bonds? Like somebody said, he made the offer to talk to me about that and what his position is coming forward, but never wanted to bring that up until we had the transition to the new judge. I don't understand that. I'm trying to be something I'll bring back to y'all, see if there's a better way going forward. Last thing, again, I want to thank all the city employees. We had a great Christmas dinner. I want to hats off to our workers outside this last week. Last week with the mornings in, this tomorrow morning, our garbage workers, sanitation workers, we're all going to do out there in this weather. It's tough to go out there on the back of that truck at 20-something degrees. And I asked Glenn not too long ago, Janet, for a pay scale. I didn't have any idea really since I've been here too much of what we pay our employees, and they've done a great job on setting those wages, I thought. They ought to be commended for that. You did a wonderful job on setting that. How you could have done with that. With that, I'm just going to shut down and let you go.
I don't have much. It is 6 months into our December, at the end of December, we're 6 months into our fiscal year. Just some highlights for you. You may have questions down the road. From a general fund standpoint, I compared last year's at this time versus this year, pretty much in the same categories as far as where we were in December of 2014 versus 2015 December, as far as revenues in their general fund. Property taxes, as you know, this is the time of the year that they come in, and that's one of our biggest collections. At this point in time, we've only collected right at 5% of property taxes, but that usually picks up January and February time frame. local option sales tax. This time last year, we were roughly 75%. Today, we're at 72%. One of the biggest ones that we do collect is what is known as motor carrier vehicle tax. Last year, we were at 77% collecting. This year, we're right at 70%, so we're a little down on those. On the next page, under revenues for the general fund business license, once again, that's not a monthly collection per se, as they are once or twice a year, May and June time frame. However, this time last year we were at 9%. This year we're right at 13.5%. So we have a little increase there. Construction permits, basically the same as we were this time last year. Franchise fees were at the same pace that we were this time last year, along with sanitation fees. Court fines, compared to last year, we're 2% above we're 2% below where we were this time last year, which was at 30%, and today we're at a little over 28%. Lot mowing and demolition, we're about the same where we were last year. Both years we budgeted $30,000, and after 6 months in the year, we were already $10,000 to $12,000 collecting more than what we budgeted, so still on the same pace. Interest, about the same. We don't collect a lot of interest whatsoever. And then state aid, which is a big dollar that we get from the state. We're at the 52% right now, basically 52% this time last year. And then what is known as lost revenue, which is budgeted $330,000. We're at the same pace we were this time last year. So all those revenues are pretty much the same. I looked at the expenses in the general fund, compared this year again to this time last year. And one of the big things I look at is electricity and fuel usage. Well, electricity is about the same across the board. Fuel usage is a little down due to the fact that the cost of fuel is cheaper this time this year versus last year. But electricity usage is about the same.
That's such a mild number.
But just,
Most of that nat gas out here,
pardon?
we're talking about primarily the wellness center on this?
No, just
Overall.
electricity for this building. And then, you take wellness center, that's gas, heat. This facility, which we pay a 35%, am I correct? 33%, it's natural gas. Y'all down at the shop, natural gas. How about you, Hardy?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
And I think fire department's natural gas, isn't it? For heating.
We got central heat.
It's all electric there?
Yep.
So the vast majority of our stuff is heated naturally. But now remember, this is 6 months type deal. Then from the water and sewer side, based on the previous year, at the same time, where pretty much everything's all on the same pace. Water and sewer sales, which is our big ticket item for revenue, we're right at 50% this year, and that's where we were last year, 50% as far as water and sewer sales and revenue.
Where are we on the discussion with Purdue and all that about March? What we're going to do after March?
We're scheduled for a meeting tomorrow. We met back in December, or late November, I'm sorry, with our engineer and their in-house engineer consultant. And we were supposed to meet tomorrow, but that has been postponed until next week. And as soon as we sit down and go through some things, they're interested in doing something after March, as far as depreciation and that kind of thing. They're interested in.
When is that? Do you have an idea?
When is what?
You haven't set the time of that meeting?
No, not yet, because we're waiting to reschedule from them.
You know, I mean, I'd like to, if I could be a part of that. Probably And it's gonna be next week?
I don't know that yet. Like I said, it's scheduled for tomorrow. It'll either be a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week, and they usually like to do it around 11 o'clock.
With the endoscopy next week, if we could do it at 2, you know, that,
I haven't heard back from him.
who is their in-house person?
You remember his name? He's out of the Maryland office. I don't remember his name. He's out of Maryland.
He's not.
He is their environmentalist, in-house environmentalist.
Well, see, you can. Not Alan.
No. Which Alan was a part of the first meeting along with Randy Brown and then this guy from their home office out of Salisbury. I think it's Salisbury. To look at those things. Now, like I said, we were scheduled to meet tomorrow. Mike Hanna, who's out in Arizona for the football game, and I have a dental thing tomorrow, so we've canceled it, hoping to reschedule for next week. As soon as I know something, I'll let you know. If you want to show up, show up. Go from there.
Where do you usually hold?
Wellness Center is where we met the last time. But that's, as far as revenues and expenditures, based on where we are today versus where we were 12 months ago, pretty much in the same place, holding steady. The last thing I have, and it's part of Purdue and some of our discussions that we've been talking about with them, the smell. Where are we and what we're going to do? And we got a grant through the Rural Infrastructure Fund through the state for $350,000 to address this issue. We put out for bids back in the summer and received 2 bids for the work back in September of 15, and the 2 bids came in about $800,000. And I just said then, we couldn't do that. That's almost $500,000 out of pocket.
What were they gonna do for $800,000?
Well, we were doing some rehabs at both lift stations, at the Purdue lift station and Commerce Drive, putting in a lime feed system to help get rid of the, what was it, Hardy? Hydrogen sulfide. Just doing some other things there at those lift stations. Well, we rebidded it back again in December and had a bid opening last Thursday. And we got 7 bids compared to 2 from the previous bid. Instead of $800,000, we came in at the lowest bid, $464,900. So, that puts us on the hook for about $115,000, our portion, which depreciation money can be used for that because that's what it's there for. So with all that being said,
We tapped into that with the 800, didn't we spend some of that with the sinkhole?
oh yes, yeah. 2
How
years
much is
ago,
left in that?
about $1 million, which we collect, how much monthly that goes in that account?
18.
Right at a little over $18,000 a month that goes in the account that we put in and
Combination of both of us?
both of us, yes.
Total of 18,000?
But with that, since we got those bids, Hannah Engineering along with myself would recommend that council accept the bid of $464,900 to do this project at the lift station at Purdue and Commerce Drive through the contractor RWF Construction. This company also was the company we used when we had the sinkholes. They came
Mike
in.
Hanna says this will fix it.
This is supposed to do it.
Can they guarantee the fix?
And how much do we have to spend a year in order to make the fix work?
We don't know what that chemical cost is going to be, but close to $100,000 a year.
Oh my gosh. Run that thing down in the swamp.
You can't
Put the stink somewhere else.
Well, we're hoping that if Purdue comes back with what we needing for them to do, our cost annually should decrease drastically. So this gets rid of that problem, along with some other issues we have.
What you're saying is our cost, you're talking about our side of the 12 million payback, is that what you're talking about? You said our cost would go down markedly.
Our annual operating cost,
Because of the payback.
yes.
Okay.
But what are they guaranteeing us though? I mean, that's what I'd like to know.
Who's guaranteeing who?
Was the
stink.
Yeah, to get rid of the
Well,
stink.
if everything goes like it should get rid of it. As far as applying the lime to it, isn't that lime, Hardy?
Yes, sir.
Because it will kill the hydrogen sulfide.
Is it ammonia?
Kill the bacteria that makes it, is that what you?
It'll raise the pH up on
pH
it,
down.
where it won't release.
Didn't you say that Purdue was doing something last meeting we had to help alleviate the smell or something?
They were trying to do some stuff.
Pre-treat.
To pre-treat for the ammonia.
But then they backed off of it.
Well, that's what our meeting's about, that we were scheduled for tomorrow. And here's our new pre-treatment ordinance that we want you to follow, that has been signed off by DHEC. So, you know, if they do what we ask them to do on that line, with us doing these upgrades, not only trying to kill the smell, there's other issues in both of those lift stations that we're trying to, because of the smell and the hydrogen sulfide, our lift stations, those two lift stations are just eat up. I mean, so we've got to get rid of that product. So
You had to totally redo those little stations.
that's part of the cost. Yeah, that's part of the cost. Just not getting rid of the stink. It is to rehab those lift stations. But going back to the pre-treatment, that's what we're meeting about. To
But
make
is there a material you can build them with that will not erode? No.
It'll slow it down, but it won't stop.
I mean, we just put up, less than a year ago, some fencing around Commerce Drive lift station.
It's already turned.
Yeah, I mean, because it had corroded and it's, within a year's time, you can tell, I mean, it's eating up.
Toxic, that is.
It is very toxic, very toxic. And not just getting rid of the smell. I mean, the smell is one thing. But when we have employees who work at those lift stations and without the smell, that's the dangerous part, am I correct? So, smell it's a warning. If you don't smell it, you're in trouble. So it's just from a safety
Concentration time.
yeah. So, but County Engineering and along with myself and Hardy recommend that we accept the bid of $464,900. And like I said, we have a grant for $350,000 to go towards that.
Did we had already done that?
No, we haven't.
I'll make the motion.
I second. All in favor? Opposed?
That's all I have at this time, Mayor.
This time we have a citizen report. Anybody out there have something to bring to us that can let your name?
My name is Mrs. Wynn, and I'd like to thank you, first of all, for your donations to the soup kitchen. We opened today for the first time, and we had a great success for that. It's going to be every day, Monday through Friday, I think from 12 to 1, to feed the homeless and all of those that can't afford a meal, to have decent food to eat. And we have a lot of the homeless people coming today. And I don't think it was all of them, just most of them is right in the neighborhood that came in today. So I thank you for your donations. That's the good part. Now, the bad part I'm thinking about today is that in my neighborhood, it's a rural area, but for me it's home. And there's a lot of houses that's abandoned, where the kids, I'm not sure where they live in the neighborhood or not, but they come and there's one house on the corner of, I think it's East Street and Bruford. No one lives there, it's abandoned. And they come and they sit and hang out in that house. They drink, they smoke, and whatever else they want to do there. And it's an eyesore because the house is run down and it be torn down. But it's worse because the kids hang out there. I think that's the only one in the area right there that hang out that's abandoned. But the other issue is this. I didn't think tractor trailers was allowed in neighborhood, in resident neighborhood.
Tractors are allowed.
Which ones?
Tractors.
Not the tractor to do your farming equipment. No, this is talking about
No,
the trailer. The cab is okay, but they bring the trailer with it.
Yeah. Trailer can't come, and there's specific, you gotta be 10 or 15 feet off of the, call Eddie, he'll go over there and check them out. If they're not within the guidelines, we'll give them a ticket.
So you said they can't bring the whole trailer in the area?
Just the cab.
Okay, the
not
cab is
trailer.
fine, but they bring the trailer in that neighborhood,
Yeah.
all right? And what's happening is this.
And they park it.
Oh, yeah. They park it, they swing it around the curbs, right, mess up the roads. There's mud holes over here, it's terrible when it rains, because there's no cement there to help it, so they tear the dirt up.
What's that address on? Do you-
Wait a minute, I want to get the right streets that mostly on, I'm on, that's on, the one is on
Hard
Griffin
to find
Street.
if you give them the general area.
Pretty big. Okay, I got you. Renoff neighborhood. Right there where Renoff lives at, in the area.
Buford,
Center
East,
Street.
the center.
Center Street.
Yeah, that's.
Okay. But the whole area, they drive the trucks around that way. It don't make a difference. Whether they live there or not. They still come to that neighborhood with their trucks, and the roads are too narrow. And they tear them up.
Is there's no ordinance to know they can't drive through it? 'Cause I think the issue is parking on there overnight.
Yeah, there's no
Well-
ordinance that they can't drive through
It's
there.
narrow for them to be driving through, and I've seen
Where would they
them
be
go
going
through
to?
there, and they're going through there pretty fast.
Where are they going to?
Well,
Coming back out to the jail, going out the highway, I've seen one do that.
Yeah, and it's not just not happening. It's been happening, but I've complained a couple of times about it, and nothing's happened with it. So I'm here tonight to complain to you guys to see if we can stop it, because I live there, and I hate to keep going out my house.
The person or people that drive the 18-wheelers, do they reside down in that area?
Yes, they live in the area. They
And
live
that
there.
we can deal with.
Yeah.
Going through.
If they park and driving through, I don't know there's anything we can do there.
Well, most of the
Me.
people that drive through are those that live there. And
Oh,
see,
okay.
since they have that attitude that they can do it, they don't stop.
And
Now, if there was
with-
something that would stop them, you want some extra money, start finding them.
That's with the tractor and the trailer. Now, with the tractor, based on setbacks, and Benny can get with you and find out where areas you're talking about. Yeah, there's a possibility that the tractor could not be there overnight or park there at all, depending on setbacks. But we'll look at it and see.
Well, that's the only problem I'm having right now. And it's my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Understand?
And with the road been all tore up, and then when it rains, like the rain now, it's so soft, all you got is mud holes. Water standing everywhere. You know, I don't want to keep coming out my yard, down the road, and I've got throwing mud puddles because of the fact that they don't tore it up. You know, I have to pay taxes over here, like everybody else does, and I want to see it stop.
Best thing you can do is get him right here, Sanjay, and he'll address it with you. I know he'll do it.
Okay,
We'll go from there.
thank you so much.
Anything, anybody else? Yes, sir.
Yes, I want to
Sorry,
know,
what's your name?
Joyce McClellan, I want to know, am I living in the city or the county or where? Because I've been asking for help and I ain't getting no help. I
You live in
wanted,
the county, now whether you live in the city, it also is a question.
well, they tell me I ain't living in neither one of them, so I want to know where I'm living at.
Where do you reside at?
800 West Street.
She's directly behind Maple School.
That's in the
Directly
city.
behind Maple School. That's city.
City and county. The city's in the county.
Everybody who I call don't know about, well, you're not in our district. I want to know what district I'm in. In her district. Where am I, the county, the city, or what?
You can go to the voter registration office. Where's that street? What's that street?
She's in
She's in
I'm in the what?
Yeah, this man gets you too.
You're in two.
Yeah, I'm in District 2, but I'm saying that when I call for whatever, like the city, they say, no, you're not with the city. You got to call
When
the,
you call who, me?
yes. They say ain't with the county. So I want to know who I'm with.
Where you are, you always just ask me for the help that you need. You never ask me where am I living. We know where, I know where you live.
Well,
You-
that's
you
true
asked
too,
me
but I done called to
What is it you
some of
want
these
to get?
offices. I wanted some tar for my driveway.
Okay. Remember, I've been bringing that up.
And we have talked
We're gonna get that
We talked
done. It's
about
just gonna be, we're waiting on the paper man to come now.
Okay.
And I think we just, from what I understand here in the last week or so, didn't you
Oh, she done talked about it.
Didn't you do some work on our driveway door? Yes, sir.
All right, City.
No, but I had just wanted to know where I was, you know, county or the city or what. I didn't never know because I've been calling around.
District 2, the city, I don't know what this county
In the same
call
that I'm
you're in.
complaining about.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Anything else, anybody? We have no unfinished business here. Docket, new business ordinance 1601, amending Title 4, Section 4, Section 4.4, bill, payment schedule for water and sewer bills. And Glenn, I think you probably need to comment on that.
Well, this is something we've talked about for several months now, and Janet finally, and Benny and myself sat down last week to try to come up with something that everybody could understand and be more clarity in it. This is basically describing when water and sewer services in the city would be discontinued for non-payment. Right now, the way it stands is you can go pretty much almost 3 months before you're cut off without payment, and that's just too long. What we present tonight is pretty much your bill is due on the 1st of the month. If you have an outstanding bill due from the previous month, that's got to be paid by the 5th, or the outstanding and the current has to be paid by the 5th of that new month. Meaning your outstanding bill is only going to go roughly 35 days instead of almost 75 days. So we're pretty much cutting that in half.
I know the water bill, you've got a payment due date by the 15th.
By the 15th, that is correct. That's before late fee is charged.
You know, I
It's due
think
prior to
this
the
is my
16th.
feeling on that, is if you've got a record of, you know, being late, tighten it up, you know.
Well, I mean, you can't pick and choose.
You know it's coming.
Well, but,
You know.
but you can't pick and choose. You got to.
Well, I know, but if you've got a record of being late, you've already gone through one period of time where you've gone 3 months. Now all of a sudden, yours needs to be done in 15 days. We're turning yours off. I think that's, you know.
Now, they do charge you for being late, so.
They do charge you, and they charge you to turn it back on. Do we have the personnel to turn it
No,
off?
we don't charge a reconnection fee.
Yeah, see, that's where I like to go with this.
We do not charge
your ordinance here, and I mean, 35 days, I see you going in the right direction, but reconnecting them back on. I think we need to put a charge on that.
I agree.
If we're gonna go the route y'all wanna go, we need to put a reconnection fee on.
Well, they don't cut it off.
But
Oh,
you-
yeah.
Yeah,
But
they
you
cut it
know-
off, they cutting it completely off.
Yeah, we're gonna. If you right now, it's roughly about 70 days.
Yeah.
Because,
And if you don't pay within that time period, we go out and we cut you off. Well, you can come in and pay
The day before
day
cut off.
before we cut off, but you're only paying what's in arrears and not what's
Coming.
current.
What's current, plus
Yeah.
this to get ready to bill out again.
This gets arrears and what's current by a certain day.
I know you
Well,
were
the thing-
opposed to that.
Well, see, we've had cut reconnection fees before. They can't pay the regular bill. How you gonna just tack on some more to them? And then they'd run up and say, well, you didn't cut me off. Yes, they cut you off. No, I came up here when they were fixing to drive up. You know, we had a lot of issues like that.
Well, what about the people who pay on time and consistent?
Mhm.
You know, we got that 90%, we gonna feed to the 10% that don't do their part? I mean, we got to kind of hold their feet to the fire too. If we
What-
cut it off, we
What
charge them something.
what would you suggest to charge?
Oh, I don't know, I mean, I'm just.
I don't, yeah. Because here's what happens.
What's the
And
charge to hook it up?
It's $25.
But here's what happens. We go
Just to go out and turn it off?
Oh, no. Well, when you set up, I set up goes 25.
A new.
$75
Deposit,
deposit,
set up.
$25
Set up
setup.
fee.
$100 to turn it on?
If you never had service with us, yeah. But here's the issues, is that we're spending time and money going out and cutting on, and then turn around the next day and cut back off. I mean, cut off one day, turn around the next day and cut on. It's not just going out there and turning the valve. We're also picking up their trash can, because that's how we get paid, you know, through trash service. If you don't have water and sewer, and we cut you off a non-payment, we're not gonna give you free trash service, so we're gonna take your trash can. So that now takes a person going back to pick up a trash can and bringing it back to the location. I like the idea of some kind of reconnection fee.
I mean,
And it don't have to be expensive, it can be 25, 30 bucks.
Just so they know, I don't wanna go that route. You gotta be just enough pests in order that they don't get in the ears with their bill. And it's something they definitely have to have, you know?
Well, what we'll do is we'll add a
Cultivate
reconnection
flush
fee.
it once.
Yeah. We'll add a reconnection fee of 25 bucks.
but I like the idea of what Dr. Wallace just said. I mean, if they're repeated, first time I can understand, maybe, courtesy. But if it's somebody that's constantly not paying the bill on time, I think we need to put something in place to, to hold their feet to the fire to where they'll stop doing that and they'll be consistent.
Well, we
That's
could
just
do
my
that,
opinion.
we could do a reconnection fee for those that had their water turned off more than twice in 12-month calendar period. If it's your first time, there's not a reconnection fee or something to that effect.
That'll be a lot of calls on that.
All right, well,
Yeah.
You go from 72 or 5 days to 32 days, that's what it's going. It's going to have already get a lot of calls. I'm gonna really get influx in, I can see it.
But it's, basically, I don't know what the percentage is, I couldn't tell you that.
I don't have an answer for you as far as
But
the
it is the same customers,
We have
month in, month out, yeah, it's the same ones.
I don't want somebody getting disconnected if they forget their payment 15, they go back in 15 days later to pay it and they got the,
Understand that,
they say.
understand, understand that.
We do courtesy calls on people we do courtesy calls to everyone that we have phone numbers to that we can get in touch with that has a previous balance. If somebody is on there that is not normally on there, we try to contact them or hang a tag on their door to tell them to contact us because normally they're not on there.
All right.
But we'll add a reconnection fee of $25 with the stipulation, first time, there's no reconnection, 2 times or more in a 12-month period, you have to pay each time that reconnection fee. And can go.
Yeah, that would just cover the cost of sending them out.
All right, it does, that it does.
All right. Okay,
You can pass first reading and then we can add this for the second reading.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Okay, that's passing the first reading.
Yes.
Motion to pass the first reading, all in favor, so that's
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Nothing else we need to do with that, right?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, council member reports, I'm gonna start with Mr. Ellery.
All right, I got a question on the budget in the police department. I just want, to clarify, the holiday pay, is that correct?
I have to pull it up and see. For the month or for the year?
It's for the month,
Yeah,
that is correct?
that would be correct. December is a busy time. We bring in a lot of people to work on. That would have been the 24th, 25th, and 26th, those 3 days.
I want to thank Betsy Baker, News for Dillon Herald, for highlighting the police department on the things they did in the community. And I hope we'll do a lot more this year, once the winter breaks and everything. Thank you a lot for that, Betsy. I get a lot of people asking me a lot of questions about restaurants. And I don't know if I need to ask you, Glenn, or Benny, the cookout. Is it coming? Is it not coming?
Don't know.
I don't have an answer for it.
Don't know.
So when we find out definitely when it's coming, will it be in the paper, or will we, how do we, let the
It
community know that?
could, it could. But right now, they have not contacted.
Okay. That's what I'm telling you, the same thing. I
They're
don't
the ones that bought the,
They bought Shawnee's, but they have not made contact with us in over about a year now, and that was just preliminary stuff.
My last thing is, we talked about, the lady brought up the homeless, the warming shelters. And we talked to the
We
county.
spoke with the county, Lynn called and talked with
Mr. Moses.
Hayward Moses over at Emergency Management. They don't have anything in place at this time due to the fact is generator went, in case power went out. They didn't have a place for anybody to go. And that's the key. I mean, in a storm, winter storm, that would be one concern. Days like today or in the morning, it's not really a concern, but then again, the way Duke Power's been working around here lately, you never know. But no, there's nothing in place at this point.
I don't know what else I can say about it. I just feel like we should step to the plate.
Where we're going to use it to do
Maybe
that.
that's something for a big discussion. We have this problem everywhere. And I just think we ought to have some designated place. When it gets below that certain temperature, we should be able to do something for it. That's just my own.
Understand?
I don't know where we go. That's all I got.
I had to speak to the council on aging today, and they were talking about storefronts. And they said, what about that store in front of us, the white one that, I think, on front of the council on aging? I said, well, that building used to be condemned. It's no longer condemned. They made the repairs on it. I drove out, and I see a condemned sign on the bottom.
On the bottom.
It should,
Got to take.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine,
This is no longer condemned.
because they did all their repairs.
Make sure we get that.
We've done this before. I mean, I didn't know if you were going to bring it up. Betsy, they're going to get with you to put it in the paper. Duke Energy, Mindy Taylor talked to us. And there you have a neighborhood energy saver program that was really stacked last time with people. And there's designated areas in your community, and they're gearing up for Dillon again. And they'll set those areas of where they're going to be. They'll have a meeting, they'll feed them kind of an informational type format where they'll tell them where they're going, what this weatherization program's about, what they're going to be entitled to. It's set for people at 150% of poverty level. So if you're a single, that's a little under $18,000 of income. A household of two, around 23 and under, and a household of three, around 30,000 and under. So that's coming, and they're going to advertise that. You know, it'll be anything else.
That's in March, isn't it?
Coming up, yeah, right
It's
here.
going to be done in
Y'all get naughty grams from them about how much electricity you use.
I don't get anything from, they can be good to us. I mean, Tarzan.
Joey, for home?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get a, and I'm going, geez, I don't have my house isn't tight. Because they say I'm above average. But it's nice to get those. Somebody's getting good, these quality homes, these newer homes, they're based on this. They're doing
Yeah.
good.
Mine's old.
Mine is too.
That's all.
Stand next to the wall, it breathes.
Wind comes through the electrical outlet.
I don't have anything.
I spoke with Mr. Watermaker, who takes care of Calhoun Park, at the city workers' Christmas party. He said he wanted to bring some things to me, and he wanted to do some ideas he have about that park. So we're going to meet, and I'll see what it is that he have. And also, did you get that information regarding that light on that pole?
Yes, we went and turned that one in. I don't know if anything's been replaced, but we did have it, but we turned it in. And in fact, Lynn, if that's the one on Earl Street. If you'll check on that one tomorrow.
And I have several pictures on my phone of 18-wheelers in the neighborhood. That's all I have.
All right. If there's nothing else for the council.
I make a motion to go to an executive session.
And you'll be out here at 8 o'clock.